This week on the Analog Circle podcast, more rumors about the latest Battlefield have come out. New news has come out about Bethesda's E3 conference, and Shenmue 3 could get a sequel. All of this and so much more on episode number 81 of the Analog Circle podcast. Wow! I'm your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and as always, I want to welcome you, to another episode of the Analog Circle podcast. Now, guys, as always, you can feel free to go over to SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Audio Mac, and Apple Podcasts to listen to some of the other previously recorded podcasts of the show. Go over to Apple Podcasts, give it a 5-star rating, do what you want to do, give it a 1-star rating, just rate the show. Also, if you are on YouTube like myself, cause I love the tube, pause, whoa, love the YouTube, you can go over there and catch the show as well. So without further ado, guys, y'all know how this goes. Y'all know how we rock out. Let's go ahead, guys, and get started with my favorite part. And I do mean this when I say it. My favorite part of the podcast, and that is the feedback section. So without further ado, before we go there, with the feedback section, always remember you can interact with the show by emailing the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com, or you can always feel free to call into the show, and I don't have that number right now, but don't you worry, it's gonna be in the description, so you can be on the lookout. Call the number, leave your voicemail, and let your voice be heard, god dog it. So without further ado, let's get into Mr. Cody Clark's email. Now, let's see the name of his email this week. Oh, this is very, very flattering, brother. He says, this podcast is rated A for awesome sauce. Man, I appreciate that, brother. He goes on to say, remember, the ESRB is an internally regulated system. The ESRB is run by the gaming publishers and their lobbyists. The ESRB exists to stop the government from stepping in and regulating. So the ESRB will normally take the path of least resistance. They are a band-aid, but they don't want to cover any possible future oil wells that will come up from DLC/microtransactions/live services shenanigans. I doubt they are any different from the MPAA. In fact, if you ever get a moment, go watch the movie. This film is not yet rated. That is the name of the film. This is not yet rated. But I digress. Also, I would love if Microsoft would buy all of Sega, have Forza and Sega Virtual Racing, plus Sega owns Atlas, so they'd get Persona away from Sony, which would be amazing, which would be an amazing coup. But I am just dreaming at that stage. Really, if they could get any big name Japanese studio to sign an exclusive game that could sell well in the US and Europe, that would be great. But they would be cutting off their Japanese market. And the Japanese are very keen on pleasing their homeland. So I don't know if that will ever really happen. Cody Clark, I gotta thank you, brother. Like I say, man, you are this. You are the heartbeat of this section, brother. It is so appreciated. I truly thank you for this. Sorry, I paused on your email. I lost my place, brother. But I gotta tell you, the ESRB, you are right. You know, I was upset last week saying this isn't going to make a big difference. Parents are getting their 10-year-old son GTA 5 or DMC or Quantum Break or whatever may have you, all of these M-rated games out there. They're just constantly buying them. I was saying I don't think that this label saying what the game is going to entail with the DLC or the loot crates or boxes would make any difference. But Cody, you are absolutely right. The last thing that they want to do is get the government involved and start making regulations. So like you said, they're taking the path of least resistance. It's understandable. But Cody, I tell you this on the other part of your email, brother, when you mentioned, some of the games you will want Microsoft to get if this deal is true, man, I tell you, I would love another Fighting Vipers as well. Fighting Vipers was a great game. I wasn't a huge Virtual Fighter fan, but Fighting Vipers was a lot of fun. I loved it. Virtual Cop. Sega has so many, a plethora of IPs to choose from, and it would be absolutely amazing if this deal is true. Now, of course, it's still up in the air. Nobody knows what's going on. For all we know, they could have just been meeting to have tea and crimpets. We just don't know. But hopefully at this year's E3, Microsoft drops a lot of great bombs as far as the new support and these new IPs that they will be getting. So we'll see what happens. But Cody, like I say, brother, thank you so much for the email. Now it is 6:00 p.m. while I'm recording this. So, I got a little bit of time. I'm gonna have to go to work at about 8:50 tonight. And don't worry, guys, just on a side note, Kiaun Vince will be back later on this week. But once again, thank you guys for checking that out. If you haven't checked it out, check it out and vent. That's what it's about, brother. Go over there and vent. You can vent over here. But we're going to work out the kinks, brother. We're still working some stuff out with that other one. But with that part of the podcast, the vents part. But anyway, let's go ahead, guys. Oh, you know what? Just to let you guys know, I was not able to play any games. It was a short-lived victory for me last week, man, when I was able to get into some of the gaming greatness. It was a great time, but I was unfortunately unable to try anything out this week. So I'm back to square one, brother. But without further ado, guys, because I don't like holding you guys up. You guys got lives, man. So, guys, let's go ahead and get into what we all come here for, and that is, of course, the gaming news that went down. Starting out with some boxing news. Now, if you're like me, you have been waiting for a new fight night for years at this point. Well, in a TMZ Sports interview, it was revealed by Floyd Money Mayweather at his 41st birthday party that he is working on a boxing game coming to consoles. Now, he did actually mention EA's Fight Night, but he said that he could never be a part of it unless he had quote unquote ownership. So we know that Floyd Mayweather, and that's the end of the quote. So we know Floyd Mayweather he has never appeared in a Fight Night game. I mean, we've had some of the greats in the Fight Night games. We've had Ali. We've had Mr. George Foreman in the games. We've had Mr. Frazier in the games. I mean, we've had who else? Mr. Oscar De La Hoya in the games. I mean, we've had a lot of huge boxers, but we even got Mike Tyson eventually in a Fight Night. But Floyd Money Mayweather said he's not doing that. He's making his own game, and it's gonna be great as far as he's concerned. Now, this is the thing. I would have to know who Floyd has making this game, brother, because I'm gonna tell you, it's not a lot of sports labels out there that have the pedigree of the skill set of EA. I mean, their Fight Night games were phenomenal. And even on top of that, even though I'm not as huge of a fan as I am for the Fight Night games versus the UFC games, I have to say the UFC games are awesome. I mean, they are great. Once you get the hang of them, I mean, my goodness, the physics, the graphics, the movement, it's great. So I'm still very questionable as to how great this game is going to be, because you guys might remember now, this is taking it back into the gaming vault, people, just a little bit. You guys might have remembered years ago that, what was the promoter's name? Don, I forget his name. He had all the crazy hair and whatnot. He actually made a boxing game. I think he had signed up with, Sega. I think Sega was behind it, or Visual Concepts or someone like that. And it was not. I mean, God dog, it was not a good boxing game. So we'll see. Hopefully Mayweather has a good team on this, and we'll see if this even comes to fruition, because we know sometimes people talk a lot but don't show up. So we'll see. Anyway, moving on to the next story. Now, this is a bit of old news right now, and I'm sure all of you guys listening probably already know this, but Turok 1 and Turok 2 are available on Xbox One for $19.99, and they have been remastered. I'm gonna tell y'all something, brother. Y'all know I don't like the bash. I don't like the bash games, brother. It's not something I enjoy. It's not something I like to bring attention to, but I got to be 100 with y'all on this one. Turok was the worst game I had ever played on the N64. Now, maybe it was because I didn't understand the game. Maybe I just wasn't in the right mind frame to really understand how great the game was. But I'm going to tell y'all something. That by far, to me, now I am 100% sure there were other worse games on the console. I'm not saying it was the worst game on the console. I'm just saying it's the worst game I ever played on the console. So for me, this is a no-go. I'm not giving Turok a second chance because I got burnt the first time. But if you are a Turok fan, by all means, it's $20. It's remastered. Go out there and start hunting some darn dinosaurs with your life. With your gaming life, that is. Moving on into the next story. Let's get into some Battlefield 2018 news. Now, a source has spoken to Kotaku and has said that the microtransactions will only include cosmetics and nothing more. Well, not nothing more, but nothing else that would affect players' abilities in the game. But this is the thing. Sources did say that the game's microtransactions have been changed and may change again before its release. So basically, this insider, and like I say every single time when some of these rumors come out, y'all take this with a small grain of mustard seed of this being true, because this is strictly rumors right now. But to my knowledge, what I got from this is this quote unquote insider has said basically at one point it wasn't like this. Now they've switched it over and it's supposed to just be cosmetics, nothing else, but it could flip back over. So we'll see what happens with this. But Battlefield 2018, they've also been saying that Microsoft has another, promotion deal with them, another exclusive deal where I guess it'll be the maps or that kind of stuff. We'll see, man. I mean, this is still real early. EA has not mentioned anything about this title. So like I say, take it with a mustard seed of hope. Now, moving on into some Bethesda news. Man, oh man. Bethesda has announced their E3 date for this year. And it's going to be Sunday, June 10th at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, which would mean that's 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. on my side of the world. So Bethesda also said details on how fans can register for a chance to attend will be coming soon. Now this is the thing, even though they didn't announce any games, they did show paper cutouts of characters from Fallout, Elder Scroll, Dishonored, and the Doom franchise on their teaser video. So, could this mean that we could possibly see something with Doom this year? Could we possibly see something on Elder Scroll this year? Maybe an extra Fallout DLC that we don't know about? Or could they just be showing these characters because they are mainstays of Bethesda? We'll have to see, man. But either way, excuse me, guys, cough that up. Either way, oh man, we know that they are going to be at E3 and it's going to be early. Last year, I think I was up at midnight trying to figure out what was going on. I was half sleeping during their conference. I didn't think it was a bad conference, but man, I thought it was slightly trying because it was really nothing new to show. Also, just on a side note too, guys, the game Prey. Now, I didn't really write this story up, so I might be missing some details on it, but from what I did read when I was skimming through, it looks like Prey could be getting some DLC that's going to take place on the moon. Now, I didn't play Prey. I don't know why I didn't play it. I just don't know. But I didn't give it a chance. But for any of you people that did, just know that it could be some possible DLC coming down the pipe very, very soon. Now, moving on. Oh, man, you have to excuse me. My throat is dry. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Let me take a sip of this OJ. Hold on. Hopefully it don't kill me. Hold up. Oh, man, that's smooth right there, bro. Let me tell you, Tropicana is not a bad OJ. Let me tell you. But moving on into some Nintendo Switch news. Switch gang, brother. That's right. That's right. Now, if you're a huge fan of the PlayStation 4 controller and would rather play the Switch with that, or if you don't want to pay, now this is my thing, I don't want to pay for the Pro controller. That joke is what, $70? Something like that. So I don't really necessarily want to go out there and pay that. And if you're similar to myself, then you can opt to buy a wireless USB adapter developed by 8BitDo for $20 over on Amazon. Plus, like I said, it's a much cheaper option, especially if you own a PlayStation 4 like myself. You have the controller there. It's way cheaper to spend $20 than to have to spend $70 on the controller, the Pro controller for the Nintendo Switch. Now, the thing is, I have to say this, I don't know what kind of, caveat this could bring. I don't know, or I should say I don't know what kind of problems this may bring, because we know it's nothing better than gaming on the controller that the console is really meant to game on. So I don't know if you guys may fall into a couple of button configuration problems or things of that sort, but I guess that's the risk you run for trying to pick up something that is a USB wireless adapter. But for people out there that really love the PlayStation controller and would rather game on that, like I said, this is just another option. Nothing wrong with options, people. Moving on, though, guys. Now this, oh yeah, man, this right here is some interesting news about Shenmue. Now, even though, this is the thing, man. Oh, man. Even though Yu Suzuki has not given us a month, a day, or a year, god dang, when we can expect to see the latest title, he did mention something, like I said, this is very interesting. Now, in an interview with COG, I think the name of the place is called COG Connected, Mr. Suzuki revealed that Shenmue 3 will be left open enough for a sequel to be made. Now, here is this gentleman's quote. Mr. Suzuki said, yes, the end will be open for a sequel. It will not be possible to finish with this third. End of quote. So, Suzuki also said, another quote, he said he wants to do something a little different with this title when it comes to the battles. He went on to say, and I quote, I hope it will take the form of a puzzle game that anyone can play with a strong emphasis on choreography. Now, this is just a little bit to unpack. So let's take it step by step. Now, Mr. Suzuki has said that if you guys were thinking that this third one was going to wrap up the whole trilogy, this was going to be it. No. Not at all. This is going to be open-ended because unless we get a sequel, you will not finish this game. You will not get any clarity until the fourth one comes out. Now, for me personally, I was a Shenmue fan. Wasn't a big Shenmue fan of the second one because I got stuck with that tree and trying to daggone catch a leaf in the middle of some chopsticks. That just didn't do it for me, brother. I was really, really frustrated with that, but I digress from that. Now, he also was saying, interesting thing that I took away from this is the battles. He's saying that he wants it to be kind of like in the form of a puzzle. I don't know exactly what that means because, and also with the emphasis on choreography. Now, I remember Shenmue was the first game that I remember I had remembered since Dragon's Lair that actually gave you prompts that you had to follow on the screen. You know, the A button or the Y button. I forget the buttons that were on the Dreamcast. But that was supposed to make the choreography that much more realistic, give it that cinematic feel, and really pull off some amazing looking stuff from different camera angles and making it look cool and stuff. So I think that with him actually trying to put some kind of emphasis on this again. Maybe he's trying to reinvent the wheel and not necessarily have the quick time events in this game, which would show a lot of growth because we know that me myself, I don't necessarily have a problem with QTEs if it works for the game and makes it more cinematic, but I do definitely applaud Mr. Suzuki for quote unquote wanting to put it in the form of a puzzle, whatever that may mean. But hey, Shenmue 3, man, god dog Suzuki, hopefully it's coming out this year. I really hope so, brother. And I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, moving on to some quick news, really fast. Nothing much to talk about with this, but it is great news. Monster Hunter World has become Capcom's best selling game ever, selling an amazing 7.5 million copies. That is incredible. Congratulations to you, Capcom. You are on a roll. And man, people have really been enjoying Monster Hunter World. I'm going to get back into it. People, shout out to my guy, though, really quickly, Mr. Goose. What's going on, brother? I'm going to get to it, man. I'm going to get to it and try it again. But once again, congratulations to Capcom for this amazing accomplishment. Moving on to the next story. Now, a few days ago, a rumor started that Diablo was coming to the Switch because of a Diablo Nightlight being switched on and off via a tweet that said, "Sweet dreams." Well, Blizzard is trying to walk those rumors back from the edge by saying, this is what they said: "We can assure you we're not that clever. It was meant to be a fun community engagement piece. We have nothing to announce." So I tell you guys, I kept on looking at the news on this, I didn't want to necessarily jump out the window because I jump out the window way too much. I'm scarred, battered, and bruised by it. So I wanted to give this one a little bit of time. And as it stands, like they said, it's nothing official yet. They have nothing to announce. But I do believe that this would be a great addition to the Switch lineup. Many people love Diablo. I've never played it, to be honest with you. It's not really my type of game per se, but this game does have a huge following, and I do believe they could really capitalize on this game if it comes to the Switch. So hopefully at this year's E3, maybe we'll get an announcement, or maybe we'll get an announcement later on in the year. But as it stands right now, nothing is official, but hopefully for the Diablo fans out there that would love to take the game on the go on the Switch, hopefully this thing gets a green light. Moving on though into some more EA news. Now it looks like a third Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare may have leaked due to an Amazon UK listing for a new Plants vs. Zombies comic book that contains a reference to an unannounced third entry in the series. Now, according to the listing, the new comic book will bridge between the first, second, and third Plants vs. Zombies games. So, even though this is once again one of those rumor mill, or I should say rumorville type of stories, it looks like this could possibly have legs. So for any of you guys out there that were big fans of Plants vs. Zombies, it's a possibility that a third one is on the way, so we'll just have to watch this one a little closely. And like I said, I can't believe we're talking about it, but man, E3, you guys, is 3 months away. And I know it seems like it's forever right now, but goodness gracious, we are already in March. When I'm recording this, it is March 5th. So, I mean, good gracious, we're already darn near a quarter through the first year. But anyway, moving on to the next story. Now, this one, oh my gosh, this got me pumped up, brother. I've been waiting on this, man. I have been waiting on this one. Now, in huge PlayStation news, the David Cage game Detroit Become Human has a release date. Oh my goodness. And the game will be launching worldwide, you guys, on May 25th. May 25th, this game is releasing, and I am so excited, man. And just to give you some context, and I mean, this is bare bones context of the game, you will control 3 separate characters. Now, the Quantic Dream games that I've played, you've always been able to control more than one character. Even in, what was the first game I played by them was, Fahrenheit. I believe it was Fahrenheit. And that game was truly something I had never seen before in a game. I mean, absolutely stunning. Very amazing game. The different camera angles, the choices, the character development, just an awesome game. Then when I got to Heavy Rain, oh, buddy, game was over. I can't say it enough. I've played that game multiple times. I don't go back and play most games for a second try. I don't. So for me to have been that invested in a game, to go back just to find some different outcomes because they were just that different, was amazing. So I am very, very much so looking forward to this Detroit Become Human. Very excited about this. Sony is really revving up. I have to say, they have two huge back-to-back months. I mean, with God of War coming out next month, April 20th, this one coming out May 25th, they are starting to finally, well, I'm not going to say finally because that's not fair, but the games that were so far out that were shown are finally coming to fruition. So I'm very happy about this, and I can't wait to get my hands on this game. Moving on into some quick news, some really quick news. We don't have to really dive into this because there's nothing really to dive into. But Sea of Thieves is getting a Xbox One S bundle, which will release on March 20th for $299 at participating retailers. You can get it at a Microsoft store and online as well. Now, it will include a 1 terabyte hard drive, 1 month of Xbox Live Gold, 1 month of Game Pass, and a download for Sea of Thieves. So unfortunately, there is no physical copy with the bundle. That is a shame. I tell you, man, it seems like all of the bundles now, everything is digital. I used to love going in the box once you got that game included and holding the box in my hand. But maybe I'm just showing my age, brother. I'm an old school gamer. 39, man. But anyway, moving on into some more Rumorverse news. Now, it looks like video footage in this is interesting for you Switch gang members, all right? For you owners. I'm in that gang, by the way. I got a Switch, but it's still in the box, brother. Don't kill me. I know. But anyway, getting back to the story. It looks like video footage of Marvel Vs Capcom 3 running on what appears to be, like I said, a Nintendo Switch has been shown. Now, the reason why this looks legit is because of the button prompts looking like they're actually correct. And it even shows the game's icon at the end when whoever is, recording the footage exits to the home menu. Now, on a side note, really quickly, it does have to do with Marvel versus Capcom in a way. But really quickly, if you do have an Xbox and a PC, Xbox Play Anywhere program has also gone to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So you'll be able to play it on both or whatever. Anyway, getting back to the bigger story at hand. This is something, brother. This is something. Gamers, I'm telling you, Switch. If this is true, like I said, this is not confirmed. But if you guys are interested, I would implore you, absolutely beg you, to go over to the YouTube page of Nintendo Life. It's under Nintendo Life. They have the YouTube video there. You can judge it for yourself and, be able to say whether it is or not, in your own opinion, being played on a Switch. But this would be excellent. I was a huge fan of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I actually played that game online. Won a couple of matches, but I lost way more than I won, brother. That is the truth. But this could just be another feather in the cap of Nintendo. And with Capcom actually coming out with the Street Fighter, the anniversary edition with multiple Street Fighters in the package, that coming over to the Switch, this would be very, very nice to have that as well. To be able to play Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on the go, on the Switch. And my goodness, it looked great. Looked just like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So, I just think that the Switch, even though I haven't opened mine, and I'm wrong for that. Need to really get on that. Even though I haven't opened it and really spent any time with it, the appeal is definitely there. They're getting a lot of these third parties to support the console. They were off to a big start last year. It looks like this trend is going to continue into this year. By the way, God dog, did you guys know that the Switch is actually 1 year old? It's been out for a year now. God dog. Well, Nintendo, happy Switch birthday to y'all mother lovers. This is fantastic, man. So already a year has gone by, and they've been, in my opinion, I mean really, even though, the situation is what it is with me and the Switch, I would be a fool to say that they haven't made great strides in getting this console to just be likable, even from the core to the casual. I think they have a very big mass appeal on the console. So anyway, moving on, big Nintendo up enough, but moving on to the next story. Now this is in Xbox news, and we're almost done, people. We're almost done. But in Xbox news, we know that, Microsoft has been working on a few features for the spring update that's coming to the console a little bit. Some members have already gotten early access to it, and things have been going quite well, by some of the reports. But one of the more interesting, now this is my opinion, one of the more interesting features that they're adding to the console is called Share Controller that will be available through Mixer. So this is the thing. If you are a streamer, you will have the ability to hand off the control of the game to viewers watching from the Mixer website. Now, the viewer will be able to control the streamer's game by either plugging in an Xbox controller into their PC or using an on-screen virtual gamepad. Also, on top of this feature, both parties can share control simultaneously, which should lead to some pretty crazy stuff. So when I thought of this new thing that Microsoft is implementing, I couldn't help but to think about Sony, where you're able to share your games with your friends. Y'all are online. You can tell your buddy, hey, man, go ahead and take control of the game. See how you like it. If you like it, then cool, pick it up. I said, man, this is, even though it's not as convenient, I would say, as, maybe how Sony is doing it, where you don't have to actually log into, a third party software to do it, but you can pretty much do it all in-house. But, maybe, Microsoft is very good at what they do. Maybe this is the first stepping stone to actually being able to maybe shorten the process a little later on down the line. But I do think this is a really good feature because, like I said, if you're streaming, and I believe also that the person is not going to be able to hit your home button. So it's not like they'll be able to erase your data or things like that, which I remember a story that came out about Destiny, I believe on PS4, when someone had let someone take control of their game and they actually erased. That was screwed up, man, where they had erased that person's progress and left their game. So with Microsoft actually taking the step to make it so you can't get into the person's information, the downloads and the saves and all of the stuff that really matters, I think that is fantastic and should be a nice way to interact with your audience on Mixer. I tell you, they're trying to push Mixer, man. They are trying to give Twitch competition. Last week they said that they're making it so you can actually earn money off of the purchases of someone buying video games off of the service Mixer, similar to Twitch, and they're just trying to do better. So my hat goes off to Microsoft for this, and can't wait to see how it goes when it comes out officially. Now moving on into God dog. Oh, I got another Nintendo story. Dag, my bad. This looks like this is actually the last story this week, though. So, back to some Nintendo news. Now, Switch owners I know what this is. Yeah. Switch owners of that. Yeah, you guys did get a scare. I don't have mine on, so I wasn't nervous at all. But, earlier this week, people were scared to death because, the activity log data had reset as well as playtime. Well, Nintendo has commented on this in a tweet and said the following, and I quote, "Some Nintendo Switch owners' play activity info is displaying incorrectly, but play activity is still being recorded accurately in the background. A future system update will resolve this issue and ensure playtime data is correctly displayed. We apologize for the inconvenience." End of quote. So I remember basically this story had people really mad and nervous because they thought that they had lost all of their data, all of their game saves, their playtime. Once again, all of that vital information that they gathered over the year of having the Switch. But like I said, like I just read you guys in the tweet, they're saying that it is recording it accurately. You guys are fine. I would like to know if this is really the case. Definitely feel free to chime in on this if you are a Switch owner and you are getting different results that aren't resulting in you guys actually getting your data back. So I would love to know about that. But guys, that is the end of this week's gaming news. Man, this is a record, man. This is a record. I would love to keep the show this short every single week. This would be awesome. Unfortunately, sometimes I just can't do it. But, guys, we got quite a bit of time left. And I'll be honest, man, I don't really have much more to say, except for, shucks. I'm not even going to sit here and bore you with nothing. So without further ado, guys, we're going to return with the final section of the podcast where I have to ask you guys a question. So we will be back after this week's video game theater. You guys stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Things are never quite what they seem. We think we understand the world around us, but we really only see the outside, what it seems to be. I used to be just like you. I believed in humanity, the newspapers, soap commercials, politics, and history books. But one day, the world kicks you in the teeth, and you don't have any choice but to see things the way they really are. My name is Lucas Kane. My story is the one where an ordinary guy has something extraordinary happen to him. Maybe it was supposed to happen. Maybe it was my destiny or my karma or whatever. I know one thing for sure. Nothing's ever going to be the same again. It all started right here. Where else could it happen? New York, capital of the universe. The chessboard destiny chose for the last big game. I was just another pawn living my pawn's life. Until that night, when my life descended into chaos.
Welcome back, game players. Welcome back. Like I alluded to before, we are in the final section of the podcast. And just like I do every single week, I have to ask you guys a question. Now, this only comes because it's been a pretty hot topic lately. Now, I want to know, do you guys think the PlayStation 5 will release in 2020? Me, myself, I think it will, but this has only been a hot topic because of Mr. Pachter. Everybody knows Mr. Pachter, the analysis who sometimes he's right, sometimes he's not so right. But I like his predictions because they are entertaining, and not just that, but even if you think about it, some of the guesses that he does make, if you're in the, if you follow the gaming culture and you really have your ear to the gaming streets, you kind of can come up with the same assumptions. So everybody is thinking 2020 is going to be that magic year. That would mean that would make the PlayStation 4 about 7 years old by that time. Now we remember last generation, that generation went for a solid 10 years. But if you literally take from when the Xbox came out to when the Xbox One came out, well, from the 360 to the Xbox One, it was actually 7 years. So actually 8 years. So, this could possibly happen. I think it would, but I truly think that Sony is on such an amazing streak. I mean, 76 million have been sold in this 5-year period. And I just can't imagine Sony wanting to jump the gun very fast. Now, don't get me wrong. If you can be out there 7 years, that does seem like that could be more than enough time. But if you also have the Pro out there, which, I mean, that's the other thing that I'm a little hesitant on. With the Pro being out there, a year and some change after the console, or 2 years later, somewhere around in there. I don't have my numbers right now, but does that kind of put a bit of a monkey wrench in the 2020 prediction? Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you guys. That's the question, man. Will PS5 release in 2020? Well, guys, that is the end of this week's podcast. But that's okay, brother, because we will be back next week. But before I get out of here, let me give some quick shout outs, man. I keep forgetting to do this, and I do apologize for it. I'm always trying to get out of here within an hour window, because I know you guys' time is precious, and I don't want to take up too much of it. But I definitely want to take this time out to once again shout out Mr. Cody Clark, shout out Mike J. You know what's up, Mike? We had a very interesting conversation. Definitely want to shout him out, as well as Goose, Chad Harper, Mastino Davis. Those brothers, they're always busy in the Facebook group. I greatly appreciate all of their contributions. It's never taken for granted, as well as the other members in the group. Renee, shout out to you as well. And just everybody that's in the group, and to all of you guys that listen to the podcast on a weekly basis. It truly, truly means the world to me. Really, really appreciate it, guys. Also, like I always say, I love shouting out other gaming podcasts because I love the gaming culture. And, if you guys are like me, you just want to get as much of it as you can from different perspectives. So I definitely want to shout out Aaron, Tiny, and Mike from the Game Enthuse crew. Give those guys a listen. Also, the Weapon Wheel. I want to shout those brothers out. They are amazing, hilarious, and they just run a great podcast, man. I mean, fantastic. Gamertag Radio, shout out to them as well. They show me a lot of love over there, and I appreciate it. So definitely listen to them, as well as it's one more podcast, man. The Tick podcast. Those guys are great over there as well. So definitely check all of those guys out. They're fantastic, as well as, your usual suspects as well. But, oh yeah, and Crap Gamer. People give him a lot of crap, but no pun intended. But I like him. I like his stuff, man. So, go over there, check them out. And, also, if you're an Xbox fan, definitely check out the Xbox 2 podcast. I think Randall Thor is over there. So those are just some of the podcasts that I listen to. Hopefully you guys will give them a chance too, and will find them just as entertaining as myself. But guys, with that being said, I was your host, once again, Kiaun Mitchell. And like I said, we're going to be back next week, but until then, Until then, game players, always remember, it's not about the consoles, players. It is about the games. So with that being said, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.